To start the Sibelius project, first find your letter. In this case I have numbers, but you'll find a letter, and mine here is Amazing Grace. That's a song I'm going to input. And then you're going to go to Sibelius, which should be in the dock down here, and click on it. And Sibelius will launch. Okay, once Sibelius launches, it'll give you options for all these different possible scores to open up. And what you're going to do is trying to choose something that looks like yours. Most of these have this thing called a treble clef in it, like this at the beginning. This thing that looks like a weird fancy cursive G. Okay, so you're going to want to find that. I'm going to go here to zoom in so I can see things that look like that. That thing doesn't, you see. This has these little other backwards curving shell things called a bass clef. I'm going to look for the one that says treble clef or treble staff. That's this one. I'm going to single click on it. Don't double click. Single click keeps you in this quick start area here. And that allows you to add a bunch of things to it more quickly than if you just open up the document directly. So portrait, this type of stuff is fine. I'm going to go to the right side over here, go down. And the next thing I need to choose is time signature. Notice mine here is 3, then 4. That means it's going to have 3 pulses in groups. And the 4 stands for this thing called quarter note. The main thing counted. Mine's on 4. I don't want that. So let's choose one that says 3. And there it is here. Select that. Cool. Now I'm going to go down and select some other things. Look at mine. It has some rests and then a note. It has this little B here too. I need to put that in. That tells me which black keys I'm going to use on the piano. That's called the key signature. So I'm going to go down and find that. And here it lists various things. These ones with the hashtags or sharp signs aren't the one I want. I want ones that have little B's. So I have to click where it says sharp keys here instead. Choose flat keys. That's what I want that has one of them in there. So I'll choose that. Now I can do other things too. I can put the title in there. The title of mine is Amazing Grace. So I'll just type it in. What else? Do I need to compose or anything? No, that looks like about it. So now I'm going to hit create. So now I have everything sitting there and ready to type in notes. If I look down at the bottom right, I should have this thing that says keypad. If I don't, I can go over where it says view here and see in the right side where it says panels. So we click on view, then we go to where it says panels over here on the right, and I want to make sure that I have keypad hit there. That'll show this thing down here for me. Okay. Next thing, I need to enter the notes in. So how do I do that? First, just look at it and see what it looks like. I'm going to go back to the document that's open. Maybe yours is printed out. And this first thing I have to enter, it's this little design here. These are all rests, and the ones that have these circles, whether filled in or not, are notes. So I need to find these rests and notes and the correct visual style and put them in there. I see these different notes in here, but I don't see the rests. Well, here we go, rest. If I click on that, instead of adding these type of things as notes, it adds them as rests. So I'm going to start out with that. And look, it shows the type of note that it refers to for a rest. If we don't know, we might have to click it in there. So click, and notice my cursor, right? My cursor has that shape in it, that rest shape thing. So I click there. It's added a bunch of them. I don't actually want that for the whole area, the whole box or whole measure. I want 2 of them though. I'm going to hit escape a couple times so it doesn't select those anymore. Then I'm going to click on this third one, which I was supposed to have a note on. Let's see what that note is. It's a note that's 1 line below all these lines. This is called a quarter note. There's a note head and a stem thing. That's the one I want here. Same type of thing. Looks like a golf club type of thing. See? I don't want it to be a rest though, so I'm going to click where it says rest here. So it's no longer that. And I'm going to go down below the staff and click. There it is. Yay, I got some things done. Let's go ahead and save it now while we're at it. I'm going to go File, Save. If I haven't saved it before, it's going to want me to give it a name stuff. So I'll go Polin.tim.190.sib project, something like that. And I'm going to click on the student files to save it in there. So click on the student files folder. It'll have other ones in here. I'm going to go new folder if I don't already have a folder for my name. So I can save it inside of there and hit save. Cool. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to enter in these different types of notes. There's this one like this, but with a unfilled area called a half note. And then these ones that look like these previous quarter notes, but with this connector thing called a beam on it. Let's look for those. Okay. And also go down to the bottom here and zoom in on my music so it's easier to see. I'm going to click and drag the score over to get it in front of my face. Maybe zoom some more. There's shortcuts for all this stuff too. Okay, what about my keypad? Do I have that hollowed out note? Yeah, there's that right there. So I'm going to click where I want it and click this thing. That didn't give me what I wanted because I have it in rest. So I unclick the rest and I go to find out where it is. Where was that thing? It was on that first space area. So I'll go here. And the next thing, I can actually just escape out of there, or I can just hit the right arrow key and it'll go to the next note. That's nice because that helps select the correct note value I need too. Okay, so I'm going to go back and see what the next note is. Oh, it's a smaller type of note. It's this one that has this joiner thing. Okay, that's actually called an eighth note, and if they're separate by themselves, they don't have this beam. They have this flag come off the top of them. So let's go back and find one of those. I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to click this button here so it goes off of it and it isn't a rest anymore. What were they? It was on this second space followed by the first space. Go down to the next one, and it automatically joins them together so that they form a larger note. So I got some more there. Let's look what's next. I have this second space, which is one of these notes I had previously, called a half note, followed by a quarter note on the second line. So I'm going to click on this, go second space, click on this, go second line. Now there's other ways you can do this too. If you know what musical notes are, you can hit the letters on the computer's keyboard A, B, C, D, E, F, G to enter the notes. So I know this is an F and this is a D, so I select this and hit F, and this and hit the D on the keyboard, followed by next to the same ones, the line below, C's, and so on. I'm going to add some of these in here and then come back to this area here. We have something else to add in. So now I get to this different area here where I have one of these half notes, this note head, but it has a little dot after it. That makes it a longer type of note. So I need to be able to add that thing there. And I also need to add this line thingy, which is an add sign basically in music. It means the value of this note is connected to the next value and they add up together to make a longer note. So let's find that stuff. And what is it connected to at the end? I'll zoom out real quick. It's connected to, in the next measure, one of these half notes. Okay, so let's do that. So I've got this half note here, but now what I need to do is I need to click on this little dot. And when I do, makes that dotted note like I had in the score here. But now I need a curved line. So right next to it is that curved line here. And if I hover over it for a bit, it'll say tie. That's what I want. In this next measure, I want one of these. Oops, I'm on rests again, so I'm going to declick that. And then I'm going to go up to here. Okay, so I've got that part worked out. Now it has similar stuff here. A quarter note. But this part here has a dotted quarter note and some of these eighth notes. So I have to hit that dot. Didn't want to do it. Let's hit undo, which is Apple Z. Or you can go edit undo. There it is. I'm going to hit the arrow key to go over to the next one of these. If I hit the wrong note, I can hit the arrow up and down too. Now I'm going to hit the letters on the keyboard because I know the names of them. C. That's wrong though. I need more eighth notes. So I'm going to take the arrow and make it go back here or click on it. Either way. Oops, undo. Go onto there. I can click onto it. And I want to change it to a smaller one of these values. Got those? The rest of it is pretty self-explanatory, so I'm going to finish that, and then we'll add a new instrument because the assignment also asks us to add a separate line to go along with it of whatever we want to make up. Well, now I've finished everything, but look, it doesn't take up the whole page. I just have this small segment taken up. I don't want to have a bunch of these empty spaces for music or empty measures, so I'm going to click on one of them, and then I'm going to go all the way down. I can scroll on the right here, all the way down to the very end. Hold down the Shift button and click at the end. That selects all the measures in between. Then I'm going to hit delete here, where it says delete measures. Yes, I want to delete all these. Now let's do the final part, which is to add one more instrument. If we're in this Home tab here, we go to Add or Remove Instrument, and we can add anything we want. So maybe we can just add a piano or any of these other things here. We can add guitars, doesn't matter to me. I think I'll just add piano, so I'll say add to score. And now, once I've done that, it takes whatever I wanted, puts it in the score. I'd like to have the piano be below it though, so I'm going to take the treble clef thing I have, I'm going to say move up. That makes it on the top, and the piano on the bottom. Now I can play chords in here, and harmonies, or whatever I feel like. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to enter a bunch of stuff. So I just put it in here. I can put anything I want, so I could just do something like this. So I've added some stuff there. It's crazy. Probably will sound bad, but it doesn't matter. I need something to play back, so I'm going to go to View and make sure it has the playback button thing called Transport. Makes this thingy here. And hit rewind and play. Kind of interesting. Anyway, that's done. I've hit File, Save. And then I'm going to also go File, Export as PDF. Should put it in my Tim Poland students file. I say Export. Now that I have that, let's look and see it. We go to Student Files, Tim Poland, and here it is. Now you can take that and print it out and turn it in.